special sauce. Open daily locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Godfrey's. It's always good. And I'm Storm Team 12, keeping your own dispatcher cool.
Well, thank you there. Thank you there, Patrick. We thank you so much for the rain. No, actually, I guess we do need the rain, but you just heard Patrick with an update and see how long this rain's going to stay with us there. We do have rain around the Tri-State area, so be careful as you drive. Back in the studios as we welcome everyone to the Newsmaker segment this morning. And we don't have on a Thursday the executive for Dade County, but we do have the, well, you wear so many hats. So, good morning, Carey.
I do. Good morning, Evan.
I mean, you are one of the county clerks, deputy county clerk, and also the public information deliverer, if you will, for Dade County. But we welcome you to the Newsmaker segment.
Well, thank you. It is always an honor and a privilege to be here. I love my job, all the aspects of my job, but this is probably one of my favorites is the public information part. I love getting to talk to people and letting them know what is happening in our county. The reason you have me today, and we may be joined by Alex Case a little bit later, is that County Executive Ted Rumley and Vice Chair Robert Goff are in Atlanta for Legislative Day. So they're down there. Some of our other commissioners are attending that on Zoom. So I didn't realize they weren't going to be able to do that for those who couldn't make it, but I think because of COVID, they decided to branch out and have people doing that by Zoom. We will have our 3 o'clock update as normal today. We should have EMA Director and Mayor Alex Case to do that update for us at 3 o'clock, so we will do that as normal. But that is why I am here today and not Ted. So
well, that is fine. I know that you have been working extensively with the State Health Department here in the Dade County office on the bottom floor of the administrative building on the vaccination appointments, and you kind of spearheaded that along with the county after they said, hey, we're going to go in there and help them answer phones. Tell us a little bit about how that's going.
You know what, Evan, it has gone very, very smoothly. Nurse Manager Tammy Franklin has been a great partner in that. She and her team downstairs. I have learned more about how our Department of Health works in the past 2 weeks than I ever knew before I went down there. And one of the things that I didn't know, and I know that in the beginning people were really frustrated because they couldn't get through their telephone calls to make their appointment for their COVID vaccines. We only have 6 full-time employees in our local Department of Health, and it is a state-run office, so it is not run by the county, it is run by the state. But they only had 6 full-time employees, so they were trying to, they were trying to give vaccines, do their regular stuff, like WIC and TB tests and all sorts of stuff that they normally do, plus administer vaccines and register people and set up an entirely new system. So they were doing the very best they could with the resources they had. Well, the Board of Commissioners said, let us help you with that. They took us up on that offer, and so we went down there, and we now have 2 to 3 full-time people doing nothing but answering phones. And that has helped tremendously to get all those calls caught up and answered. And to this point in time, everybody who has wanted a test, who has been eligible, has been able to receive or who has wanted a vaccination has been able to receive a vaccination as long as they're eligible. And of course, they're still doing testings on Wednesday. So we've had a lot of questions about the tests. So the test that they're doing is not the rapid test. They just do the test on Wednesdays here in Dade County from 9 to 12 and then 12:30 to 4:30. They do those tests, and they are not rapid tests. They are the regular test. It is drive-through testing. You just drive through the parking lot. They'll test you. Typically, you get the results back between 24 and 48 hours. So although it's not rapid testing, you do still get the results pretty quickly. And
it is more accurate.
It is more accurate. That's what I was going to say. So even though it takes a little bit longer, it is more accurate. So it is definitely something to do. They are still doing testing at the other departments of health in the Northwest District, and they have a different testing at different days at different places. So I think Paulding, Gordon County, so they do testing at all of those different places. So just because you can't get tested today in Dade County doesn't mean that you can't get tested at one of those other counties. If you want to call the health department at 706-657-4646, 4213, and I'll give you that number several more times during this broadcast.
Now, Carey,
They can tell you where you can get tested today.
Now, Carey, on the vaccines, we're still in phase 1A.
We are.
Which is all the first responders, fire, police, EMS, dispatchers, and so forth. Also, 65 and older, plus their full-time caregivers. We started experiencing more vaccines than we had folks stepping up for appointments last Thursday and Friday. I know that you put out, and we did as well, you had like 60 appointments that need to be filled in 2 days. You had 15 yesterday, or Monday rather, and hey, it's Thursday. Well, this week's getting away. But,
right.
Where are we at as far as, are you still having appointments that are not being filled because we just don't have people that will step up and take the vaccine this week?
Right now, we are pretty full. At least when I checked before we came on, most of our appointments were full for today and for tomorrow. They do have some available on Monday, and I do want to clarify, we did have some people call and say, call the health department and say, oh, I heard you have extra vaccine. Well, it's not extra. It is, our normal amount. We just had open appointments. So the vaccine comes in batches and in shipments, and so when the Dade County Health Department is doing this a little bit differently. So they are not making appointments unless they have vaccine on hand. So I know we've all heard the stories where people go up to get their vaccine somewhere else, like in Virginia or somewhere, and then they say, oh, we're out of vaccine. Sorry, we have to turn you away. Well, they're not doing it that way here in Dade County. In Dade County, they wait until they have the vaccine on hand.
So if they give you an appointment, you have a shot with it.
Absolutely. And I really want to encourage people, because we've had people shopping around for appointments, and the soonest appointment that they can get or the quickest appointment that they can get, please don't do that. We have calls coming in like crazy at all of our local departments of health in the Northwest region. I know many of you have called and said, I can't get through to Walker County, or I can't get through to Catoosa County, or I couldn't get through to Dade County until recently. Well, that's because we have a lot of people who are shopping around for appointments, so they're making multiple appointments at multiple...
And I will say that Catoosa and Walker have stepped up. I know last account, Walker had a telephone banking system, banks of telephones. They had 20 folks answering the phones in Walker County, similar in Catoosa County, and it has really, really helped all three of the counties in North Georgia stepping up for that. So
yeah, it really is. Now they're doing theirs a little bit differently. They're putting people on a wait list typically if they don't have the appointments, and we are doing the same thing here in Dade County. But right now we're fortunate; we do have some appointments available with some vaccines available. So what I want to say and what I want everybody to know is this: if you get an appointment at the Dade County Department of Health, that does guarantee that you have a vaccine. So it does guarantee that you have one dose of the vaccine. So we're already into doing the second doses. That is a priority.
A lot of folks have already got their second.
Yes. So
that is good.
We actually started administering those second doses Friday before last, and of course it started with our first responders because they were the first ones to get the vaccine. And so now they're going into that. And just to remind you, the health department will call you. If you received your first dose at Dade County Health Department, they will call you to schedule your second dose appointment because they have a spreadsheet, and it has your name, your telephone number, the day that you received your first vaccination shot, and so they have it on a schedule. They'll call you when it is time, and they're doing a great job. I was taking a look at one of their spreadsheets yesterday. They had 6 pages of people they needed to call for their second shot. They had gotten a hold of every person on that list except for 2. So, and they had left messages for those people. So, we hope they call back and get their second vaccine. So, yes, right now we are in phase 1A. A lot of people still have questions about that. When you call in to the Department of Health, they will ask you these questions. Are you 65 or older and a resident of the state of Georgia? If you answer yes, they're going to ask you a couple more questions. Have you had COVID in the last 90 days, or have you had a vaccine of any kind in the past 14 days? If the answer to that is no, then you are eligible for the shot. And we have a lot of confusion about why they ask if you've had COVID in the last 90 days.
And really, they shouldn't, because that's just a standard question.
It is
It's
a
either
standard
yes or
question.
no.
Well, it's a
I don't
standard
understand
question.
why folks
Well,
will-
I think people are afraid that if they've had COVID and they get the shot, it's going to cause some kind of reaction, and that's not it at all. So here's the reason for that question. So when you have the COVID vaccination, it builds up antibodies in your system. Well, when you've had COVID, it also leaves those antibodies in your system. So roughly 90 days, until about 90 days after you've had COVID, you still have the antibodies in your system that protect you from getting COVID again. That's how it's supposed to work. So because the vaccine is so limited, this is just a way that we can get it to people who need it faster, while keeping other people protected.
So it really doesn't have anything to do with a health issue. It's got everything to do with the fact you're protected.
Absolutely.
So you don't need to step in front of the line, so
Right.
to speak, because you're not going to perceivably get a repeat of it for at least 90 days.
That's exactly right. And
Okay.
we've had a lot of people say, well, I'm 60 or I'm under the age of 65 and I have comorbidities, which means, I have underlying health issues. Well, it is not your turn yet. It will be your turn in phase 1C. So right now we're in 1A, which is what Evan went over a minute ago. So it is people ages 65 and older. And just so you know, the reason it's 65 and older, and I'm really thankful that our governor decided to do it this way, is because people ages 65 and older are at much higher risk for dying from
I think
COVID.
the average age now of the 8 deaths that have been related to Dade County is 75 as
Right.
an average.
So just to give you some idea, and a lot of people say, and this made me feel better because I do know a lot of people who are under the age of 65 who have some underlying health conditions who I thought, oh man, they really need this vaccine. But here's what the CDC says. So the CDC said that only 14% of COVID cases are people ages 65 and older. So only 14%. However, over 80% of the deaths from COVID-19 are in that age group 65 and older. So that's a huge, huge difference. So that's why they said 65 and older, because that is truly the most vulnerable population. So one of the things that you need to know, though, is that we have a lot of people who work in Walker County or in Catoosa County. If you decide to get your vaccine in Walker or Catoosa County, you're totally able to do that. As long as you live in the state of Georgia, you can get your vaccination at any place in the state of Georgia. So we've also had some questions about, rapid tests. Why are we not doing rapid tests? Well, part of the reason they're not doing rapid tests is the results are not as accurate, number one. Number two, it's what kind of tests we have on hand. And right now we have the regular test on hand, and it's what the Department of Health, the Northwest Region Department of Health, so there are 10 counties in that Northwest region. So it's what Director Carey Fauscett decided to do in this region, was to do the regular tests. So if you have any questions about testing, you need to call the Northwest Region District and talk to Dr. Carey Fauscett. That was his call to do regular testing. So now if you do want rapid testing, there are tests. There are places in Chattanooga where you can receive rapid tests.
Right. Okay. Well, that's kind of a 10-minute synopsis of what's going on with the COVID
It is, but I do have one more thing about the COVID vaccine, and I just thought about this. So we have a lot of people saying, when will we go to phase 1B? When will we go to phase 1C? So phase 1B is essential workers. So, or they are included in that phase 1B. And the short answer is, we don't know, because that is Governor Kemp's call. So Governor Kemp and Dr. Toomey.
Dr. Toomey.
They are the ones. They are the ones who make that determination when we can go to phase 1B, and when they do that, this is what I want you to know. As soon as they make that announcement, we will let you know. I mean, we are on KWN every Thursday at 9:30. We also do our update on Thursdays at 3. We will let you know, and we will also announce it on our Facebook page and on our website as soon as we go to phase 1B. Also phase 1C. So, I mean, you can follow the governor on Twitter or Facebook, or you can just follow our Dade County, Georgia Facebook page. I know Evan will announce that too on KWN and Discover Dade, the Mountain Valley Independent newspaper that they've got. So we will do our best to keep you updated on when they go to phase
and I
phase
would think
1B.
it's going to be maybe not intimate as far as this afternoon, but it's going to be in the next few days. And I believe the reason I say that because we're seeing when the first 1A came out, there was a big problem with getting appointments. Well, they're saying a statewide survey, only about 50% of the folks 65 and over said they're going to get it.
Right.
Well, we're about 60.
We're about there.
About 50% that's had the vaccination here in Dade County. So we're right
That's
at.
right.
If that holds true, we're about getting everybody vaccinated in that 1A that probably is going to get vaccinated.
Yeah,
you can't make somebody.
Yeah, we really are close to getting, I think, everybody who needs it in there. So we really are doing our best to get everybody vaccinated who wants to be vaccinated. And like I said, they're doing a great job. We have had a few questions about the variants that are coming into the state. So that's B117, which is the European version of COVID, which is supposed to spread faster, but not supposed to be any more dangerous.
European version, but you can't call it a China virus.
Well,
I still don't understand that. Well,
so
I just did, which is fine. I mean, that's where it came from.
So we have had some questions about that, and we have had questions about the South African version as well. And it's also supposed to spread faster, but at this point, they don't think it's supposed to be any more dangerous. Right. So the vaccinations, from what we understand, work on all of them. Well, yes, as far as they know, right. There are more tests to be done, of course. So the CDC has put out some new information about B117, and they do anticipate that it will be the primary strain of coronavirus in the United States by March. So
let me just say right there, because we're running short of time, that the CDC did come out. If you're going to follow those strict guidelines that they say, yesterday they came out and said wearing 2 masks was probably a good idea. And I just wanted to throw that in. They added that yesterday, wearing 2 masks if you so desire, or if you're in a state that requires masks. Georgia still does not. Let me ask you right fast. We only got about 2.5 minutes. County Commissioner Bradford, how is he doing?
He is responding well. So a lot of people have asked about him. He is responding well. His family says they are happy to hear that, and so are we. So,
absolutely.
So we hope he continues to get better.
And we're talking about County Commissioner Alan Bradford, who it was also recently diagnosed with COVID, and he's going through the healing process.
Yes, he is, and he's had it for a little over a week. And he was one of those that was doing fine, and then they had to get him some further treatment. But his family says that he's responding, and they are very pleased with that.
All right, well, good deal. Anything else? We got about 2 minutes here.
Well, we had the Board of Commissioners meeting last Thursday night, and at that meeting they voted to named the ball fields after Larry Moore, who was the sole commissioner. And so we did a little thing on that yesterday. You can see that on Facebook Live. And we put out a photo on Twitter of that. So the Dade County Sports Complex now has Larry Moore Park there. Right. And so we're very excited about that. They talked a little bit about Tire Amnesty Day.
That's been postponed.
It has, we
don't have a date.
The initial date that we requested, the state denied, and so we do have to wait for them to accept the application. So we will have a tentative date sometime in May, but I'm not going to tell you any more than that, because again, it's up to the state. They can choose to accept that or deny that. Progress on County Road 6 White Oak Gap is coming along nicely. We have added new photos to that, so to our website, so you can see the progress of County Road 6 on our website, and we are very, very pleased with that. And Elections. So Elections has announced a special election day for East Blost as Tuesday, March 16th, and early voting or advanced voting for that will begin February the 22nd. So just around the corner.
Just around the corner, vote early and often.
Yes, yes. So this should be the last.
We have seems like that the elections never stop.
This should be the last vote of this
Until
election
fall.
cycle until fall. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yes.
And that's the city election, of course.
Yeah.
All right, Carey, thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, thank
and
you.
Updating us on those things. Coming up on KWN at the top of the hour, of course, we do have Fox News. We'll get a live update. 2 more hours of the Rick and Bubba Show on the way. And we also, this morning on